Hi guys. So I have had a lot on my mind today, and so I of course like this outlet. So this is where I'm going to kind of get it out. I think it's gonna. I actually have the feeling that it's gonna pose more questions than it's gonna answer. I'm not sure, but I'm just kind of going with it and flowing with everything that I need to say and kind of just get those thoughts. So, with that being said, the thing I want to talk about today is when they leave you. When somebody and this is not exclusive to romantic relationships. It's not um men leaving women. I'm going to talk in general, but I do think the focus is going to be on relationships, romantic relationships, probably men leaving women, because that's where I have the knowledge. So I think some of these feelings can apply, though, to a more general sense of being left. So, I've had a few conversations with people lately talking about, if they leave you, moving on. If they didn't want to be with you, then that's their loss. Just move on. You don't ever want to be with somebody who's unsure. You always want somebody who knows what they want and goes in on you 100%. And to a large extent, I agree with that, because you you don't want to waste your life hoping that somebody is going to love you. You don't want to hold on and beg and go with these kinds of things when it's pointless. They're never going to love you in the way that you need. And I think that we do that in general as people just because we have all these questions. It's comfortable a lot of times. There's insecurities around it. But I think the biggest reason is just because that's what is. And so when you get left, I think it's really natural and easy to start blaming yourself. And this is where it applies across the board. If children are left when they're young by a parent, they question what was wrong with me. When you get left in a relationship, you wonder what you did wrong or what you could have done differently. And even me, as strong as I am, as good as advice as I give, as much as people come to me because I'm there to support them and tell them what they need to hear as opposed to what they want to hear, I struggle with this idea of not blaming myself, not deciding or wondering or thinking about what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? Spending way too much picking it apart. And it's this constant battle in my head. So the one side's like, you didn't do anything wrong. That was all their feelings. You did everything you could. You loved them the best you could. Their loss. And then this other part of me that says, but I loved them and I wanted to be with them and they were everything that I ever dreamed of. And if I just could get another chance, maybe they would love me. And I'm not saying one way or another is right or wrong, because it's a process. It's never going to be perfect. You're human. You're going to go through the feelings that you feel. And I do know that being stuck on somebody doesn't necessarily have to do with any one set of things. It's not always, like for instance, when my husband Peter left me, I felt like I was never going to find somebody ever again. I felt unlovable. I felt like nobody's going to appreciate me. I'm just going to be this lonely old hag with these 3 children and these 2 crazy dogs. And I just felt incredibly unloved and unlovable. And I thought everybody leaves. And I kind of touched about this before. It's a narration in my mind that I've carried for my whole life, I think, that everybody leaves. And so it's something that I'm working on changing, because I do believe heavily at what you put out into the universe is what you receive. So I'm trying to pull that back. But when this recent relationship ended, I didn't think to myself, nobody's going to love me, because the truth is I have options. I have a option. There is a person that would love to be with me that, I chose not. And, there's somebody that cares very much about me, but you love who you love and you want what you want. And I do think that sometimes I have been this classic kind of woman, unfortunately, where I want what I can't have. I think sometimes, I don't know if that's motivation. And this is where I feel like more questions than answers are going to be posed, because is it that I want what I can't have, or is it just that, it felt better, it felt more to be. So that's questions that I would have had to resolve. But I am happy in that I don't have to have that same feeling of I'm unlovable, because I know that's different now. I know that I am lovable. The other thing that I had to learn, and that I did learn from this, was that I deserve better than what I think I deserve. And so I think that that's one of the things that we can try and counteract the hurt and the pain of loss, is trying to look at what the lesson was. And that's what I've tried to do with both of these scenarios, is try and learn, what is the lesson? What did I learn? What did I pull from this? So that when I go into the next thing, I can be more whole, I can be more complete, more secure in the relationship. And so, I've been really trying to work on that. It doesn't mean that it makes it easy. It doesn't mean that I don't have something in the back of my mind that I'm still working through, hoping, okay, there are still those moments where I think, just say you're sorry and come back and I'll have you. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, because that's the other thing. It's not steadfast, because if somebody got scared and that's the reason why they pulled away from the relationship, I don't necessarily think that's one of those they left you, never let them come back kind of situations, because everybody operates differently out of fear. There was no bad mouthing me, abusing me, saying that there was something that I did wrong, saying these kinds of things. And so, I think that is a different kind of situation, and everybody's unique. So while I do say 100% don't hang on to people that don't deserve to be in your life, don't hold on to those people that can't love you, I do think there are exceptions to every rule. And so I don't know what the future holds. I'm just kind of taking every day, one day at a time, minute by minute, trying to figure myself out and letting things go as they will, and just taking time to enjoy friendships and put the focus more there until, time reveals itself. I'm open to what the universe brings and things like that. And, I like what I have in my life right now. Life feels really good. I feel like I'm in a good place, and I think that I can feel like everything is going the way it's supposed to, but I don't really know where it's supposed to go, and I'm a kind of a control freak, and so that drives me a little bit crazy, because I don't get a choice. I think that's where a lot of really the biggest struggle from being left comes from, is that it makes you feel powerless. You didn't have a choice in the matter. Somebody just said, I don't want to be with you. Bye. And it wasn't like you got to be like, well, you did this thing and this thing and this thing. Bye. No, it was just like, for whatever reason, this is my feeling and I can't stay. And so it sucks to be left, and it sucks to try and figure out, and feel like you need to figure out what the reason, what you could have done. But I tell you what, somebody really wise, a very good friend of mine, she said to me, because a lot of times I think that I get, that I'm too much. I worry about being too much. And I have good people in my life that tell me I'm not too much. There's no such thing as too much. But this particular friend, she said, you'll never be too much for the right person. And I think that's really true. And I'm trying to remember that you'll never be too much for the right person. You're never going to be too anything for the right person, because for the right person, you're going to fit. And it's not to say it's always going to be perfect. It's not to say there won't be problems, because everybody has problems. But for the right person, it's okay that I love really hard and I go all in and I go for what I want, and the right person will understand that. And so, there's some sense of being patient and trying to be patient, and knowing that everything will work out the way it's supposed to. Maybe the right person is in my life and that's gonna be revealed in time. Maybe they're not. Who knows? But the one thing that I do know is that when somebody leaves you, it's not to do with you necessarily. It's to do with them. If you feel at some sort of fault, I always encourage people to be introspective and evaluate that. If there's some part of your behavior that you did something and you feel like you need to change, absolutely change that. Like I said yesterday, we always have that option to change ourselves and reinvent ourselves. But if you get left and you know that in the whole relationship you gave the best of everything, the best you could do, you loved them in the best way that you knew how, and it still was wrong for them, let them go. Let them go. If they come back, then you have your choice on what you can do at that point. But just know it's not something you could have done differently. You could have changed. If they want to go, they're going to go. And that's just the truth. So, as always, I rambled. It's a long time. Thank you for anybody who listened to my craziness today. And absolutely thank you for those who tell me that I'm not too much. I hear you, and I appreciate you. Thank you. All right. Bye.